What's up, everybody? I'm Dr. Weber. Today is episode number 1 of Fit Recap. We are going to recap our fitness history, and then we're going to talk about specific fitness industry systems and approaches. We'll talk about what's going on today. We'll talk about this week's fitness news, and then we'll also talk about some tips that you can take home, and then we'll close it with some questions. So, welcome to Fitness Recap. Today is the second day of March 2025. I am Dr. Weber. This is episode number 1. Today we're going to talk about first what Fitness Recap is all about. Then we'll talk about our history or recap of fitness. Then we'll go into what I call segmental approach to training or segment training. We'll have some fitness tips for you to go home with, and then we'll tell you where you can find us after the show. So, first of all, Fitness Recap is going to be all about week's news in the fitness trends. We'll talk about systems, strategies, how to pick apart your exercises for your training regime. We'll talk about how to prioritize your sets and reps. We'll talk about nutrition and hydration. And then we will also talk about our own fitness journeys and how they've evolved over time. So any participant or guest I have on the show, we will talk about their recap of fitness and how they went about their training systems throughout their lives and what their current split is and how their training system looks compared to how it used to look. So everyone's training path evolves. So we call this a recap or a journey. So we're going to talk about our training. Then we'll get into systems or theories or strategies of training. So different types of movement techniques and systems and training approaches. For instance, we'll look at different certifications. There's ACE, NASM, CFSC, NSCA, NSCF, and others. We'll talk about different specific systems like functional range conditioning, PRI, patterns, and then we'll talk about things that are going on in the industry currently. So we'll look at things like the Huberman podcast, Peter Attia's work on cardiovascular and health, and then we'll talk about whatever else is in the industry this week. So we'll talk about my fitness history to start, since it's episode number 1. We'll get that out of the way. So I basically started training when I was around 16. I remember going into the weight room and not being able to push the 95 pounds off my chest. I had no warm-up. They just kind of threw me on the bench. It was the football team, and I just sat on there like, oh wow, help me up. And I was like, wow, I figured I started training. A lot of my friends played football, but I played soccer, and a soccer team in high school didn't get any proper training. So I took it to myself to go to the aquatic center, which is down the road, got my own gym membership in 9th grade, started all the way into high school. And I basically just copied whoever was at the gym at the time. I listened to my friends who were on the football team. I just knew that squatting, benching, deadlifting, and pull-ups were going to be the priority of training. And then I was always working on my core and abs, so I was always interested in trying to get a slimmer and tighter waist. So I was always looking at aesthetics. I was always looking at like pro wrestling as a kid, so I was always looking at those bodies and Arnold, and I would love to look like that one day. So my goal was always to kind of attain that physique. And basically what happened, 20 years after, is I started competing and actually doing bodybuilding competition shows. Won first in the North Carolina State Show, and I've also competed in college soccer. So I have a lot of training background besides just weight training. I actually started competing in bodybuilding, and so I got to see the whole spectrum of fitness and nutrition the last 20 years. So take it to now, I'm 40. When I was 16, I started the strength training and bodybuilding, and then when I got into my 20s, I did yoga and running. After that, I got back into weight training, I got back into mobility, and then I got back into resistance training, and currently in a resistance training phase right now. There have been some years where I've done CrossFit functional patterns, strictly done certified functional strength coach approach for a full year strictly. So I've taken on systems, functional range conditioning, and I've actually done them for a whole year. So I didn't just do it for a month and then bail out. I actually took it upon myself to learn the training systems, to get to know the people, even Flowbility, you get to know the people involved in these programs, and then I took it about myself to learn them, execute the drills, and then see if I like them, and then put them into my current training systems, which was the basic resistance training. And so I've taken all these approaches and kind of utilize them now into one approach that is my current approach, which I would just call full body working out. So full body training. So we'll talk about how I got to this point. We'll talk about those different systems in different episodes. But for today, we're just going to kind of recap my fitness. Like I said, I started off with resistance training and hypertrophy training, so trying to build muscle size and aesthetics. Then I got into yoga, meditation, and running strictly, so I got a lot skinnier. I lost a lot of body weight when I did that. Went back to the resistance training, found my love back for bodybuilding. Got out of bodybuilding, I went to functional training, mobility training. Then I went back. Now I'm currently back into resistance and that hypertrophy training. So prioritizing more of a healthful approach, meaning I'm trying to lower my LDL, I'm trying to lower my blood pressure. I'm also trying to make sure that my heart is healthy, so making sure I'm doing my steps per day or conditioning. And so now it's more of a holistic approach. So I don't specifically do one type of training now. I kind of prioritize a lot of different systems. My current split is I work out about 3 to 6 days a week, usually gonna be full body training. I also teach days and on training days, so I will also be demoing a lot of movement. I'll be walking a lot, so I get about 6,000 to 10,000 steps per day. I train about 3 to 5 days per week, and currently not doing any specific cardiovascular training as far as like jogging or long walks, because I get about 6,000 to 10,000 steps per day without cardiovascular training. I should prioritize more cardiovascular training, getting on the bike, but that's something that I'll probably try to move forward as a goal in the future. Currently, more of a full body approach, making sure I'm hitting each body part at least 10 to 20 sets per week, probably getting that 25 set per week because I've been training for a long time. So the longer you train, the more sets and reps you're going to need to kind of maintain and also grow. So I'm always trying to grow, and I'm also in a growing season right now, meaning that I am trying to prioritize protein, prioritize muscle protein synthesis by training and getting proper recovery, sleep, and protein. And then also not going over in calories or fats, so not going over when it comes to body fat. So trying to reduce body fat, increase lean muscle mass, and prioritize sleep and just kind of a healthful living way of life. So that's my fitness recap. Now we're gonna go into segmenting. So we're gonna talk about the segmental approach to training. So when I first started training, my segmental approach was what I would call a linear approach. So we're going to talk a linear approach, a random approach, a block approach, and then a pyramid approach. Okay, so all these I would call segment or segmental training. So these are 4 different types of training that I've experienced and that I can kind of teach with you to help you understand and prioritize your exercise and fitness needs. So first of all, we want to think about fitness in buckets. We have the strength bucket, the power bucket, the movement bucket, and the conditioning bucket. We're trying to fill these buckets up each week. My conditioning is about 6,000 to 10,000 steps per day. My movement, I do mobility before my workout. My strength is my workout, and then power is before my strength. So I prioritize a dynamic warm-up with power, and then I do my strength hypertrophy training. And then if you're not doing cardio or getting a lot of physical activity, that's when you do your conditioning. You can do your conditioning as a separate workout or after your workout, or on separate days, or on the same day. So if you are prioritizing vascular needs, then do that first. If you feel like that's something you skip, if it's something you get already, then do it maybe after your workout or on separate days. Or if you don't want to do it after your workout, separate days. Okay, remember 30 to 60 minutes for cardiovascular training, or about 6,000 to 10,000 steps per day. And if you're getting 6,000 to 10,000 steps per day, or about 3 to 5 days of 60 minutes of cardiovascular a week, you're good on that front. That's going to be heart healthy, good for blood pressure, good, but it also can be very hard on the bones and the joints. So that's why you want to maybe switch from jogging to maybe biking. So this would be your conditioning bucket. or cardiovascular bucket. Then you think about strength and hypertrophy, so building muscle. You're gonna have 4 major things you're gonna think about: push, pull, squat, and hinge, and core exercises. And then you're gonna have your power bucket, which we'll do after our movement or mobility in the beginning of your workout. So I prioritize my mobility, then power, and then strength, and then you can do conditioning after the workout or on a separate day, okay? So when it comes to the training session, okay, some people have a linear approach, and this is what a linear approach will look like: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And these blocks each represent the exercises you're gonna. Now typically you want about at least 10 sets of body per week. So you want to get at least 6 exercises per session, at least 3 times per week. Okay, so you want to think good exercises you're going to get during your workout. You can get up to 10, and we'll talk about your main 6 and then prioritizing 6 to 10 total exercises per session. This is if you do 10 total exercises at 3 total sets, that's going to be 30 total sets. That's a lot of sets. So if you're a beginner, you want to think maybe 10 sets. So you might only think about 6 exercises for 3 sets or 2 sets, so 12 to 18 sets. More advanced lifters are going to think 6 to 10 exercises if you're training a little bit longer. But prioritize your first 6 exercises, and we'll talk about how to do that in a pyramid approach, block approach, random approach, and linear approach. So when I first started out, I first would just do 1 exercise at a time. So for example, if I was doing chest day, for example, this would be bench, then I would do flies, then I would do incline, and then I would do a tricep push down, and then I would do a skull crusher, and then I would do maybe some core exercise, an accessory exercise like shoulders, and maybe hit some lower body at the end. So that would be kind of like upper body focus, chest, and then hitting a little bit of core accessory work after the workout. Now, if you're a beginner, you're probably not going to do chest day. So this would be something for someone who's working out. They don't really know what they're doing, so they're just saying, I'm just going to do a chest and tricep day. This is what most people's workouts start looking like in high school, right? But if you want the linear approach to full body, what you would do would go upper body, lower body, core, upper body, lower body, core, okay? And then just continue like that down the linear segment approach. So upper body, lower body, core, upper body, lower body, core, upper body, lower body, core, and then you can choose either upper or lower body at the end. Okay, so this would be a linear approach for segment, okay? And making sure that you get a full body approach. Now, most people will do this at the gym because a lot of equipment is taken up and they don't want to do necessarily another exercise, say in the walking lane. So like if you're working on a machine, on a seated bench machine, you don't want to go to the next machine and take up 2 machines. So you're less likely to do a superset. So you're more likely at a typical gym to do the linear approach, or beginners are going to feel more comfortable with this linear approach. This is totally fine, but this can take up a lot of time because you're doing one after another and you're not kind of utilizing the time available. So what some people might do is more of a random approach. So you might have 1 block here, and then you might do a superset here and here and here. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then maybe you go like this, 8, and then maybe you do 9 and 10 at the end. So that would be more of a random approach. Another type of random approach would be maybe starting with a superset and then go into a single set and then go into a tri-set, and that maybe doing a circuit. Okay, and then after that, just doing 1 exercise and then finishing it with 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've gone. Okay, but you get my drift, that you can kind of do a random approach. I'll do one more. So you can do a single set, a superset, another single, another super, then a triple. Okay, so this is what I mean by random. Now, if you're doing the random approach, maybe you're doing this because you see that machines are working next to each other, or you see a push-pull machine next to each other. So you're like, well, why don't I superset that right next to each other? Well, that's, now you're thinking, now you're using your brain help when you know what you can do. So for instance, let's just say you want to do one main exercise or one main lift, and then you superset, but then you want to hit maybe another set just to kind of calm down from the superset. And then after that, you want to go for a tricep, but then maybe you want to just take it down a notch. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's just say you just get 8 exercises for the day. You don't have to get 10. I would prioritize 6 main lifts when you're working out, but you can work up to 10 sets. You probably don't need to go over, not 10 sets, 10 exercises. You probably don't need to go over 10 total exercises in a full session unless you have specific skills or needs. So this would be a randomized approach to getting 10 exercises. Okay, now let's just say for this approach, how would you go about training? You might go upper body and then lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, core, upper body, lower body, core. Okay, so you could prioritize just upper body, lower body, core, or just switch back and forth from upper body to lower body. You could also have an upper body superset or a lower body set. So go and focus on quads and hamstrings, or push pull, or biceps, triceps. So this is where you can go back and forth with some of your workouts. Now we're going with the blocked approach. So the blocked approach, this is going to be the CFSC. Okay, this is going to be 3 total boxes with 3 total exercises. So it keeps it nice and simple. There's only going to be 9 total exercises, obviously, but this is going to be upper body, lower body, core, upper body, lower body, core, upper body, core. Okay, so you're going to get 9 total exercises times about 3 sets, so it's about 27 total sets. So you're getting a lot of. You're probably going to have some warm-up sets. You're getting about 30 total sets. This is going to be good for advanced lifters or a gym or training center that is able to get 3 different types of exercises in a pod, or you have space where a group can do it or a single client can do it. Now this is where you have to think, all right, strategically. All right, if they're going to do upper body, lower body, core, I want to make sure that we're not using the whole gym. So it might be if you're in a rack and you're starting with upper, be a pull-up and then a lower body. It could be a hip hinge, sometimes like a single leg deadlift, and then a core exercise could be maybe you're doing a hanging leg lift, or maybe you're sitting right underneath the squat rack and doing a forearm plank. So that's what I mean by doing 3 different total exercises. Now this is a lot of work, so you don't have to do 3 total exercises. You could do upper body, lower body mobility exercise. So it doesn't have to be a core. It could be upper body, mobility, lower body if you feel like you need a break. But this helps you strategize your training system so you know you can get all the exercises in about an hour, where you might take a little bit longer with a random or linear approach, which might take a little bit more time. Now we're going to talk about the pyramid approach. So the pyramid approach, I'm going to kind of talk about because it's kind of a new approach that I like to use. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all this. All right, so let's talk about the pyramid approach. Now, I like the pyramid approach because it prioritizes 6 main lifts, but we can add in 4 more or 3 more. We can talk about how to go about that. Let's just talk about those 6 main lifts. Now, I see a lot of people talk about how more is less and how you can get more bang for your buck when you focus on specific compound lifts, multi-joint lifts, and less on single joint lifts. So we'll talk about how you can prioritize your compound lifts and then also a joint or your single joint lifts. So let's first talk about this pyramid approach. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 total exercises. Your first exercise would be your main lift. Okay, this This is going to be a compound lift. Compound means multi-joint. Hopefully something like a squat, hinge, a push or a pull up, or a bench press or an incline press, or some type of shoulder press. So you're thinking if it's upper body, let's just say it's bench press, for example. We want to then do lower body and then an upper body exercise. So then we have this, and then we're going to do something like a squat, and then we're going to do something overhead or a pull, and then we're going to go upper body, lower body, core. So we'll go upper body, can be, now we've done pull, we've done bench press, so now we can do something like a shoulder press. And then we have our lower body, which can be some type of hinge. And then for core, you can do a combo for lower back and abs, or you can just prioritize one or the other, okay? So some type of core, or you can just mobility exercise. If you want to add in more exercises, you can add in a little bit of circuit here, okay? So you can get 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, okay? Or you could just do 9, you don't have to do 10. So this could be a bicep, a tricep, and then maybe low back, and then you could do, for the last one, could be like a pull down, type of row, or some type of push, okay? So you have upper body, lower body, core. So if you did low back here, you could do abs here. And this is going to be another way to get a full body approach in using a pyramid approach, okay? Now you don't have to do any of these approaches. All these, what I would be calling them, is just a segment approach to training. So just understanding that you can do single block training or linear method. So we have our linear, which is going to look like this, okay? And then we're going to have our random, which is going to be, like I said, can be a superset, and then a single, and then a triple, and then a single, and a single, and a double. So, I mean, this is going to be our rhythm. Then we have our CFSC, or our block approach, which is going to be just nice and easy. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 9. And then we have our pyramid approach. And that's going to be taking those top 6 exercises, okay? Oh, oops. All right. It's just a double here. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so we have our linear, random, CFSC, and your pyramid approach. Now you tell me your favorite and why. Do you like the linear? Do you like the random? Do you like the pyramid? Or do you like the CFSC? Okay, now let's talk about how we would do a full body training. We do upper body, lower body, core, upper body, lower body, core, upper body, lower body, core, and then finishing off with either upper body or lower body. Or you could go just upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, core, core, lower body, upper body. So you could mix it like that. Random approach, okay? Think upper body, lower body, core, upper body, lower body, core, mobility exercise, upper body, lower body, core, mobility, something like that. If it's a type of training, so if you're hitting, let's just say just legs, you might do hinge, squat, single joint, squat, hinge, single joint, so abductors, adductors. So not just doing compound lifts if you're doing a linear leg day. So that's when you want to go from multi-joint to single joint exercises if you're doing just a split style of training. If you're just hitting legs or just hitting upper body, just understand that it's probably, you're only going to need 6 total exercises total. If you're going past that, you want to think doing those smaller muscles, single joint exercises are going to be a little bit safer at the end of your workout. Prioritizing your power and those high force output exercises first, and then the lower output accessory work, secondary exercises you're going to put last in your workout. For your CFSC, it's always going to be upper body, lower body, core, or it's going to be upper body, lower body, or it's going to be upper body, lower body mobility. You could also see lower body, upper body. It might just be a coincidence. There's an exercise right near that station that just coexist. So you want to just think, oh, well, we'll just do these two together because it makes more sense. So just being mindful of hitting upper body, lower body, and core. And then also thinking front plane, so side to side movements like lateral squats, okay? Doing side lunges, also thinking about your pulls, pull-ups, and then any type of abduction or adduction work with the upper body. Then we have our pyramid approach, right? So then you can prioritize 6 major exercises. And as you go down the pyramid, you can think of intensity, moderate exercise, weights, as opposed to the higher intensities, high weights in the beginning, okay? All right, so these would be the 4 different types of segmental training systems. Let me know what your favorite is, and I'll let you know what mine is for now. All right, so that's the segmental approach to training. Last on our first episode of Fitness Recap, we'll talk about some fitness tips. Then we will head us into the last section of our training. So, fitness recap today. We went over the history, okay? We went over my history of training. Go back, you can check it out. We went over the different segments of training. And now we're going to talk about some tips. So we're going to talk about some fitness. I should have just put tips here. All right, so our first tip is to prioritize protein, okay? So making sure that you're getting your body weight, at least half of that, 50% of your body weight of protein. So if you weigh 200 pounds, if you can get 100 grams of protein, that's gonna be 50% of your body weight. That's gonna be at the minimal. If you can optimize it at 70% or even 100% of your weight, you are doing great. So I would say anywhere from 50 to 100% of your body weight. Okay, that's your first fitness tip. It's gonna be more satiating. It's gonna lower your cravings, because if you're prioritizing protein, you're gonna have more of a metabolic need to deconstruct that protein, especially if it's whole foods. If it is just shakes, it's a better option than eating chips. I'd rather have 100 grams of whey protein shake than 100 grams of carbs from chips, okay? So prioritize your protein, okay? Sleep, 8 hours. So I can say that I've been sleeping 8 hours, even with a kid kind of running around in my bed. So my son, he'll wake me up at night, but I still look at my watch. I still make sure I get 8 hours of sleep. So make sure you get 8 hours of sleep. So you might have to turn your phone off early, get in bed earlier. Always just try to do everything earlier. The quicker the better. Drink all your protein, get ready for bed, and get some sleep and wake up and get some fresh energy, okay? Another tip, okay? Prioritize your liquids in your morning. So wake up, have your coffee, drink your pre-workout, have your, if it's creatine, make sure you got your sodium, magnesium, calcium. If you're not getting protein in the morning, make sure you get calcium throughout the day. Make sure you get any type of green leafy vegetable if you're not already. So hydration is really important, because you want to make sure that you're hydrated before your workouts. So making sure you're getting like 32 ounces of water or your liquid pre-workout before your workout. And then during your workout, getting about 24 ounces, and then after 12 to 24 ounces. Yeah, you'll be peeing a lot, but you're going to be cleaning the system. You're going to be shedding out all those toxins just from like sleeping at night, and just kind of getting out all that waste. So through sweat and through urination is going to be important, really important filtration system to make sure that you're hydrated. Okay, if you are drinking too much water, that can be a bad thing. Okay, so don't over drink water either. So don't just all of a sudden just start drinking a ton more water. Maybe add a couple more cups of water a day, as opposed to trying to think about how much water you should be drinking. Most of the time it should be half your body in ounces per day. So if you're 200 pounds, about 100 ounces of your body weight. So I would say 50% of body weight. All right, so make sure you're getting about 50% of your body weight in water. Make sure you are drinking or having salt during the day, just so you're not losing all the water, because you want sodium to hold water, and carbs, that helps you hold on to water too. and creatine that helps you hold on to water too, but it also means that you need to drink more water. Prioritize your protein to 100% of your body weight, get 8 hours of sleep. And the last fitness tip is to be grateful that you're alive and that you can walk. There's a lot of people that have physical, mental, social disabilities that avoid them from getting into their physical activity. So just understand that some people can't do all that you can, and so it's important to be grateful that you can do all the things that you can do physically. All right, so if you have any questions about fitness recap, who you'd like to know formally on the show, who I could interview, so any guests that you would potentially see me interviewing, what type of fitness recap or history, what guests do you want to know about the most? All right, that's going to be it today. Thank you, everyone. Getting another coffee. We'll talk to you later.